Okay, so welcome to our Bitmoji session. You'll see that the name that I have right there, Personalize Your Canvas with Bitmojis and Other Ways to Incorporate Google Slides, is a little bit different than the title that we had before. We did this last week, and just a couple of things. We were going to discuss image mapping. I'll tell you about that before we get started later on in a few slides about the problem with image mapping. It's so cool. It just has a problem, a major problem. And so instead of spending our time doing something that doesn't work quite as well as we had hoped, Annie's going to show you a lot of ways to incorporate Google Slides other than just having a cute homepage with your own personal Bitmoji. So let me show you some things in case you don't already have a Bitmoji, just to kind of see some of this. My computer's not, there we go. Okay, so if you're not familiar with the Bitmoji, just to give you a super quick introduction, here is an image from the bitmoji.com webpage. Basically, a Bitmoji is one of these. It's a cartoon version of yourself. Okay, now Bitmoji is set up so that you can download an image that has a lot of backgrounds, a lot of poses, things like that. So it makes it super cool to add to your homepage or to different parts of your canvas. The way that you get one, the way that you design one, is you have to download the appropriate app on your cell phone, on your smartphone. And it will walk you through this process of taking a selfie. That's optional, but I found it to be very helpful. If you take a selfie, it picks up on all these characteristics of you, and then you can go back through and maybe choose a different hairstyle than it did, or thicker, thinner eyebrows, things like that. And you can go through all these details of it. And then in the end, you have created your own Bitmoji, and oftentimes they do really look a lot like you. Now, in order to get that Bitmoji to where you can download it and use it in Google Slides, there is this Chrome browser extension. Okay, it's just the Bitmoji Chrome browser extension. And Annie's going to use this. She will show you how to use it. The problem with the Bitmoji Chrome browser extension, there are some, we'll say there are some inappropriate for school use images you could download. And so because of that, it is blocked on our school internet. So you need to use this from home. Okay, so if you ever try to download Bitmoji stuff from school, you're going to get blocked on that. So just remember, this has to be done at home on your own internet, okay, not school, because it will block it. Another thing you may want to write down, lots of really cool Bitmoji images that you can download will have backgrounds with them. And you may look at something and think, oh, that looks awesome, except I don't want that background. Well, there's a really good site that is free to use, remove.bg, where you upload the image that you're wanting to use, and it will automatically take that background out for you. And if it doesn't do it just right, there's a way you can go back and manually put some of it back in, or remove parts of it yourself. Super cool, so write that down. Here is maybe the coolest resource of all. There is a Facebook group called Bitmoji Craze for Educators. So you put in a request to join this group, and it is a super helpful and friendly group of educators where they are all creating their own scenes, and so many of them are sharing them. So if you're worried that what we're showing you here in the next couple of hours is something that you're just like, I'm not going to have enough time to do all of this. Well, don't worry, because you may be able to go on here, find something and just go with it, or find something, pop your own Bitmoji into there, and then use that. So there are a lot of resources in this Facebook group, and they are completely open to sharing. So that's the thing. It's not like you're stealing it from them. They're putting it out there for other teachers to use. So Bitmoji Craze for Educators is the group. Now, here is the main reason that you're here. Okay, these are 4 examples of classroom scenes that you could use as your front page. And the one on the upper left corner is more of a banner because it's wider than it is tall, or significantly wider than it is tall. The others kind of have about the same dimensions. And so these are just different things you can do. The one in the bottom right and the upper left, they have Bitmojis in them. Okay, the others don't. So these are kind of examples. These are all things I pulled out of that Bitmoji Facebook group. So these you could take and insert your own Bitmoji. There are ways you can add links to these. Okay, but Annie's going to show you how to set these up. She'll show you how to set up your own from scratch and a lot of tips on things that you will want to include if you're doing this completely on your own from scratch. Okay, but this is our goal. This is what we're getting into. Okay, we're here for 2 hours doing this. I wanted to give you guys an idea of what you're getting into in the first 10 minutes so that at noon you're not like, oh, wait a second, what? That wasn't anything I'm going to use. So if you decide this isn't for you, no hard feelings, okay? You don't have to stick around, but that right here is the main goal. Now, the issues that we have with these scenes that we can create in Google Slides. Okay, if you create a link in Google Slides into one of those scenes that we just viewed, for example, and then you incorporate it into Canvas, every time you click on a link, it will open in a new tab. Okay, right now there's not a fix for that, and I don't expect that there will be. Okay, if you create links just in Canvas, those links will open in the same tab. Okay, but if you're doing this through a scene, through a Google slide, it always opens in a new tab. Now that may or may not be an issue for you. Okay, if you have high school students, it may not be much of an issue for them because they're probably a little bit more familiar with browsers and closing out tabs they're not using. If you have a younger group of students, a significantly younger group of students, it may become a problem if they are not really used to using internet browsers, because they may just click on things, and then all of a sudden have 10 or 20 tabs open, which may affect the performance of their device, may cause some problems. So just going to throw that out there because it's something that you should know up front. Okay, second, we have found through our trial and error that these scenes and Google Slides work best when you just use them through a web browser. Okay, there are apps for Canvas. They don't work well with our scenes that we're going to create here. In fact, okay, Annie and I have talked about this several times. For what we're doing here, I really don't see a reason to download those apps. Okay, I don't feel like they add anything to the experience. So with my own students, I don't encourage them to download that app right now because I really don't think in the state that those apps are right now that they're really going to help anything, because the web version is good. It has everything that we need in the web version. So take that for what it's worth. All right, so image mapping. I said I was going to come back to this. So image mapping is this really cool HTML thing where you can do a little bit of HTML coding, and there are websites out there that help you with this, where it makes it super easy, where you can take a scene like we're going to create here, and you can make it where you click on individual parts of that scene and it will open new links, but in the same window if you want. Or you can tell it to open in a new tab or whatever. Okay, it is super flexible. The only problem with image mapping is that the iDevices don't understand it. Okay, so if somebody is on an iPhone, on an iPad, I have tried through the Canvas app, I have tried through every Canvas recommended browser on an iPad. None of them understood image mapping, which was a shame because image mapping was super cool. Now, if you knew for a fact that your students were going to be using a PC like a desktop or a laptop every time, then it wouldn't be a problem. So if you are interested in image mapping, I have a video, I have a PDF that explains step by step on how to do it. After this is over today, send me an email. My name is Jim Lawson, so jimlawson@moreschools.com. Shoot me an email and I will send those to you. And then if you've got questions, you could ask me. I still understand all about it. I just don't want to really take up our time in this presentation when it's got a problem that would kind of exclude a decent amount of our population. So instead of spending time doing image mapping, Annie's going to spend more time talking about the other things that you can do with Google Slides, and there are some really cool ones. So at this point, I'm going to go over to the chat window and I will monitor that. So don't forget that in about an hour and a half, then we'll turn it over to Q&A. Whenever we go to Q&A, we will stop recording this, so you don't have to worry about being a part of the video that possibly gets posted on our website. And between now and then, if you've got a question, you can go to the chat window and I will try to help you there. So in the meantime, most of what you're going to learn here today, if not all, is going to be taught by Annie Francis. So Annie is one of our teachers in the district. She has just learned all about Google Slides and how you can incorporate those. And the original idea for doing this session about Bitmojis came from her. And I've learned so much from her, and I think you guys will as well. So Annie, take it away.
Hi guys, so I just want to let you know a little bit about myself. I am an elementary STEAM teacher, so I come from an elementary background, but I will let you know that like what we're covering today can span across pre-K all the way to 12th grade. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share my screen with you all. And I also want to mention that I will be at the end of our session today giving you a link to this FAQs for Bitmoji Google Slides. It will have answers to most of the frequently asked questions, as well as down here it will have additional like small videos that you can look at. So if you don't want to watch this 2-hour session and try and figure out where we were at, you can just come to these little tutorials. This is what I used when I was starting to build my knowledge of what we were talking about today. So let's start with the very beginning. And I'm going to show you, when you first start working on using Bitmoji in your classes or for your slides, you're going to want to make sure that you use Chrome. And I'm going to just type in Bitmoji Chrome extension. This will pull up. Now mine says remove, but yours would say add. Mine only says remove because it's already added. Once you click add, it'll ask you to basically log into the email that you used to create your Bitmoji, and it'll give you this icon that has a little green face and smiley face. When you click this, this is how you get access to all of your Bitmoji characters. So this is going to be very important whenever you start using Bitmoji. Now, another thing I want to go over, actually recently learned this. You can either do a genuine slide when putting it into Canvas, or if you don't want this to be like have clickable links, you can also make it a banner, and I'm going to show you how to do both. So how you would make a banner, but we're going to use Google Slides the entire time. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to open up your Google Slides, preferably in your More Schools. So you'll notice right here, I'm logged into my More Schools email. I'm going to click these 9 little dots in a square, and it'll show me a yellow icon that says slides. So I'm gonna click slides. It'll open up and I'll get a plus sign for a blank presentation. Now, what it's gonna do, the first thing that I recommend is that you give a title to your presentation. So I'm just going to say Bitmoji classroom sample. And I'm going to click out of themes. Now it will give you 2 text boxes in your initial slide. All you have to do is click, hold down, and draw a box around those 2 slides, and you can hit delete and it'll get rid of those 2 text boxes so that you just have a blank slide that you're working with. Now, you're going to want to, if you want to do a slide, you will just keep it like what you have right now, okay? If you want to do a banner, which is small, like it's more long, but it's narrow in terms of its width, all you have to do is go to your format, your layout, and then you can select what you would like. So in terms of how you want your, let me see. You can just basically select and make it 1200 pixels by 300 pixels. You can also use it in Canva if you want, but I'm just gonna use a slide for today. So you're gonna hit insert, image, and search the web. This is what we're gonna use a majority of the time today in order to create our classroom. So to make a background, you'll just go to insert, image, search the web, and it'll bring up a little search box, and you can hit wall, floor. And if you type in wall and floor, it'll bring up a whole bunch of different options that you can use for your classroom. Whenever you find one that you like, all you do is click it. It'll give a little check mark, and then you'll say insert. It'll bring the image up, and all you do is move it to the edges of your slide. And then you can use the blue little squares to resize it to fit your need of the entire slide. Once you're done, you'll just click out of it. And this is now the background image that you have for your classroom. In order to put objects inside of your classroom, you're going to do the same procedure. So you'll say insert, image, search the web. Now, the only difference is when you're trying to put objects inside of your classroom, you don't want them to have a background, because if it has a background, it's not going to look realistic. So you always need to put the word transparent, and then you'll put the object that you're looking for. So I can put transparent desk. And it's going to bring up a whole bunch of different options for me to choose from. So I can select this desk, and I'll hit insert. And now what you'll see is that this actually does not have a background at all, so it fits nicely, and I can just resize it for how I want it to look inside of my classroom. You can do the same thing if you want a chair. So you can say insert, image, search the web, and instead of desk, you just put transparent chair. And you'll be able to click what you want, hit insert, and it will appear. And then you can just resize it, making it as big or as small as you want it to be. Let's say that I want a whiteboard. So insert, image, search the web. Let's say I want this one, so I'll insert it. But I don't like all of these different colors. is right click and say crop image. And these black lines will appear on your screen. And all you do is make sure that you are on the black line and bring it over. Hit enter. And that's how you crop your image to get parts of the image that you don't want in out. And then I can just resize. Now let's say I want this right here, but it's obviously covering up my desk, it's covering up my chair, it doesn't look realistic. The easiest thing you can do is right click that image again, and this time you're gonna go to order. And you'll see it says bring to front, bring forward, send backwards, and send back. Never send it to the back. If you send it to the back, this is like layers on a cake, and if it goes to the back, it goes behind your background, and it's very difficult to get back later. So I recommend only bringing forward and sending back. So I'm going to send this backwards, and now it went behind my chair. So then I'm going to hit order and send it back again, and this time it's behind my desk. So this is how, if you need to reorder what the objects look like, you can do that on your screen. And I can just resize it however I want it to be. Some people like to be really fancy, and they like to put some windows in their Bitmoji classroom, so I'm going to show you how to do that. You're going to say insert image, search the web, and I always like to start with the scene that I'm going to see inside of my window. And because the scene isn't transparent, like you want that background, all you're going to do is type in outdoor scene. Oh, that looks pretty. This will work. Hit insert. And you'll bring it down to about the size that you want. And I like to just move it over relatively in the area that I want it to be in. The next thing that you're going to do is you need a window. So you're going to hit insert, image, search the web. And this time, because you want your window to be transparent, you don't want a background on it, you're going to say transparent window. This works for me. I'm going to say insert. And then all I'm going to do is get this relatively close to the size that I want and lay it on top of the outdoor scene. The reason I like to do the background and then the window is it automatically orders it correctly, and then you don't have to go back and order it again. So like your tree wouldn't be in front of your window. It's just easier. And all I'm going to do is click my outdoor scene image and resize it so it fits really nicely inside of that window. And voila, I have a window inside of my classroom. Now, to add your Bitmoji, all you're going to do is go up to the Chrome extension that you've added, and you're going to click Bitmoji. And then I really recommend, if you want full body images of your Bitmoji, that you use the search word pose. It will give you a ton of different images that you can use that are full body. So I'm going to choose this one of the Bitmoji sitting down. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to say copy. And then I'm going to paste my Bitmoji person inside of my classroom. Now, personal preference, right here, I'm going to say I always right click and I crop this image because it's got a very large square around it. So I will crop this image so that it kind of just barely includes my Bitmoji. It makes it easier to select objects around my Bitmoji later. So Make sure that you hit the black. And then enter. Now I can resize my Bitmoji person down. Now, obviously you can tell that my Bitmoji is not facing the same direction as my chair. So I'm going to show you how you can fix that. If you go up to Format Options, and you go over to Size and Rotation, there will be a flip vertically and a flip horizontally. If you just flip horizontally, suddenly your Bitmoji changes direction, so you can use the Bitmoji easier. And then you can even rotate that Bitmoji with this top circle icon so that it looks more like it's sitting. So just FYI, if you want to do that, all you do, I'm going to show you that again, click your Bitmoji, Format Options, Size and Rotation, and just flip that. You can do that with furniture. You can do that with your Bitmojis. This just makes it a lot easier. And then you can rotate using the circle icon at the top. And your cursor will turn into this little plus sign, and that's how you know that you are on the correct spot. Now, let's say that you want to write something on your board. You're going to come up to the text box. So you've got your select, which is your cursor. Text box is right next to it. And you'll basically create an area by holding down and releasing in which you're going to put your text box. So I could say, welcome to, I teach STEAM, so I'm just going to make it easy, STEAM. At this point, you can also use, it's basically just like Word in a sense of you can highlight your text, you can center it, you can make it bigger or smaller with your plus and minus, you can change the format that you want. Of the font, you could select a color, you could do highlight, whatever you want. This is how you know that you can do it. If you want to make your text box smaller or bigger, you just use these square blue icons. Now, something I recommend that you put on your Bitmoji home screen is a contact information. So I'm just going to use a text box, and I'm going to say email. Let's say I want this smaller. I can just make it smaller. And I'm just going to type in this, you get the point. And I'll click out, and there's my email. All right. So let's say that I want to add an object outside of this, and it's my own personal image. So all I would do is say insert, image, and I would go to upload from computer. And when I hit upload from computer, I can go into my downloads, all right? Now, if you decide that you're going to do that, here is a picture of my dog, and I'm just going to insert that image. And then I can size my dog down. I can crop him. And then I can make him fit into the scene however I want. Now, this image of my dog had a background on it. So all I did was save the image that I had of him. And I went to a website called remove.bg. It was in the PowerPoint that Jim showed you. And you hit upload, and it'll take you to this image, and all you will do is you will find the image that you want. So let me go down to, let's say I want this plant. All right. This is the original. it automatically takes out the background, and this now has a transparent background. Let's say remove.bg really messed it up, and there's parts of the plant that are missing. All I need to do is hit edit and go to this box called erase and restore. If I want to erase, this is my brush size. I can make it bigger or smaller. And when I erase, it'll erase the image wherever I click and touch. If you want parts of it restored, all you do is hit restore, and you can make it come back together. All right. When you have it the way that you want it to be, all you hit is download, download image, and down here you can see it says plant-remove BG. So now when I go back to my classroom, I can say insert, image, upload from my computer. I can go down to my plants, open it up, and there it is. Well, this is a different plant, but you get the idea. There is my plant without the background. All right, and then you can just resize it however you want it to be. Remember, if you have something that an image that goes outside of the border of your slide, it will not be seen. So just make sure everything is within your slide if you want it to be seen. Now, let's say I have everything that I want on my slide exactly as it is. I'm going to show you how you would go in and embed this slide into your canvas. So the first thing you're going to do is go over to File. You're going to go down to Publish to the Web, and you're going to click it. Then you're going to go over to Embed, and you're going to hit the yellow button that says Publish, and it's going to ask, are you sure? You just say okay. And you're going to copy this really long embed code that it gives you. Then you're going to go into your canvas. And this is my home course button, but I will just go down to my pages. It will always bring up your home page, but you can say view all pages to go to a list of your pages. And you'll hit add page. I always recommend giving it a title. And then you're going to, instead of the rich content editor with all the buttons, you're going to click HTML editor. And you're going to paste that really long code that you got inside of your page. And then you're just going to hit save. Always hit save. And your Bitmoji homepage should come up. Now you'll notice this really ugly Google Slides bar at the bottom. If you're like me, that kind of bothers you. If you have them to like click the next button and go through your slides, leave it there. But if it's one slide, you can easily get rid of it. All you need to do is go to Edit, go to your HTML editor, and you're going to do just a little bit of code. So inside of your HTML, you're going to see this number that says 3,000. All you're going to do is place your cursor right after that last zero. So in between the zero and the quotation marks. And I would recommend writing this down, but you're going to type in the and sign, RM equals minimal. So I'm going to highlight that for you just so you see what I added to the code. So and sign RM equals minimal. And once you add that, all you have to do is hit save. And it will completely disappear from the bottom of your screen. Now, there are a couple different things that you can do. You can make it where your Bitmoji homepage is simply there for basic information and does not have clickable links. Or you could add links to your slide. If you want to add links to your slide, that is perfectly fine. All I'm going to do is go back to my Google Slides and show you. Whatever I do to this slide right here will automatically update into your canvas. So anything that I change here will work. So you don't have to go back to Canvas and try and re-embed it. It seamlessly does it every time. So let's say that you wanted to add a link to a book. All right, so I can go to insert image, upload from my computer. And earlier I did what do you do with an idea? So I took a screenshot, which I can show you how to do, and then I added it to my list of downloads. But I'm going to show you how to take the screenshot first. So I'll type in what do you do with an idea. I typically go to images. So this is going to work out perfectly for me. I want the image of this book first. So on a PC, you have a snipper tool. On a Mac, all you do is hit Command-Shift-4. And you'll see this little icon, and all you do is drag a little box around the area that you want snipped, and it'll take a snapshot for you. So I can go down to my classroom, hit Insert, Image, Upload from Computer. It's added to my desktop. And here is the book. I'll resize it, and I'll put it on my desk. Now, in order to link an object, all you do is click the object that you want linked and hit Insert, and then you'll come down to this Link tab right here. Now you have two options. One, you could paste a URL, or two, you could link it to any other slide. So if I had 10 slides, it would list slide 1 to slide 10. You could link it to another slide. But I want to link it to a read aloud. So all I'll do is go to YouTube, and what do you do with an idea? This looks good. Sorry, it may play. There you go. All I'll do is hit share, and I'll copy this link. So hit share, hit copy. Go back to my classroom, click this book, hit insert, go down to link, and all I'll do is paste that URL and hit apply. So now whenever you link an object, it will automatically show you what it's linked to down here. Now your kids won't see that, but you will see that. Let's say that you want to link something to text. All you have to do is highlight the text that you want linked. You'll hit insert, go down to link the same way. I'm just going to paste that same URL and hit apply. When this link is attached by text, it changes it to blue font color and it underlines it. If you want to change that, all you have to do is come over to the text color and make it not underlined anymore, but it will still work. All right. So everything that we've done there, when you go back to your classroom and you hit refresh, it will automatically upload every single thing that we did. And now when those kids click your object, it will take them to that page. And when they hit Steam, it would take them to that page. Now, I know sometimes we get worried about like ads. So if you want to write this down, there's a site called View Pure, and you just click it, and you can actually insert your URL and hit Purify and copy this link instead of the YouTube link. If you use this link, it will take away the ads so that your kids don't see those ads. All right, so View Pure, you just take the link from your YouTube video and then you add in that URL, and this is the link that you will use instead. That's what I typically do for my younger kids. Now, as you know, there are different things that you can do. You could have everything that you want inside of your home page, or you could make buttons. I personally suggest that your main navigation buttons for your page be underneath instead of within your slide, simply because it keeps everything contained in one window. If you have a few links here and there, that's fine, but your main links, I would do buttons underneath. So I'm going to show you. This is a second grade classroom that I've used, and these are actually all little books, little read alouds that I've added. I added my contact information, and I added these down here as my main navigation buttons. So if they went to reading, all they'd have to do is click this icon or click writing. I'm going to show you what I do to make these buttons and how you can make them pretty quickly. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a website called Canva. Some of you may be familiar with this. If you use your, if you sign up for a teacher account through your More Public Schools email, it will give you all of the access to your pro features. But the things that I will let you know is that, let's say you left the district, then you wouldn't be able to access the designs that you did because you wouldn't have access to this email. So if you use a pro account and use your More Public Schools email, save what you've done to your either like a USB or to your drive at home, something, so that you have access to this in case you leave. Otherwise, I just use my personal one, but I may get an educational account later. I like to use the logo, and so all I'll do is click logo. And then I'm going to go over to this side on the left, and I'm going to hit background. And you can choose a lot of different backgrounds. With the normal account, you have some things that are free. If it says free, obviously it'll say that. If it has a little crown next to it, which I'm not seeing some right now that do, but there are like some that have a little crown, that basically means you have to pay. But if you have a pro account, you get access to those as well. So I'm going to click this. You can even change the background color. So you could come over here, choose one of the default colors, or create your own depending on what you wanted to do. And then I like to use my Bitmojis for my buttons. So I could come over to my Bitmoji icon. I could type in math. And then let's say I want to use this icon. You can say copy image, paste it, and then you can just resize it so it fits. Something that you might want to know about in terms of the Bitmojis, if you type in a word and it doesn't have that exact, like it doesn't have an image that goes to that, then it will come up with math. So you'll have lots of images, it'll have some random thing that your Bitmoji's doing, and it'll show whatever you said. So if I typed in respect, it would have different things that would say respect. So if you've got something and you can't find the Bitmoji that you want, just type in the word that you want and something should come up that you could be able to use. Now that I have this, all I need to do is hit download, and I'm going to download it as a PNG. It'll go download, and then it should come down here and show me what it is. I'll go over to my canvas, and I'm going to find the page I made. For the Bitmoji. So this is what we made together. I'm going to say edit. And this time I'm going to stay in the rich content editor. I'm not going to go over to the HTML editor. And I want to make sure if you come down here, you can extend this down so that you can see more of what you're working with. I like to extend it down and then place my cursor down below so I know my button is going to appear down here instead of somewhere else in space. Then I'm going to go over to images, and I'm going to say I want to upload a new image. It'll tell me to choose the file. It's in my downloads. And then I'm going to find what I did. So I'm just going to choose this one. I think it's the right one. And I'm going to type in, I could just say home page button 1 and make sure it says course files. Hit upload. I guess it was Friday. Something I just recommend that you do is clean up your download folder, because I don't, and then this is what happens. But this is literally another button I made, same process. All you do is come in and you make this. So I have other buttons down here that I could use. I made a Monday one, a Tuesday one, Wednesday. So you could literally come in here, you could say math, you could say writing, you can make these buttons however you want, and you just resize them to fit however you need, depending on the amount of buttons that you have. So obviously, if you have 7 buttons, your buttons are going to be smaller than if you have only 4 buttons and you want them stretched across. So just keep that in mind with what you have, okay? Let's say that you wanted to link this button, this Friday button, to an activity or a module, okay? You can go to link, and this is a module that I made right here. Pretend that this says Friday. All I do is click, and I would attach this module to it, and it would turn yellow. So anytime a kid in my class clicks this Friday button, it will take them to that module. You could also do that with a page. For instance, I could come down to pages, and if they have them do this vocabulary practice. So I click Friday, I click over here to vocabulary practice, and that's what it's linked to instead. So you could link to pages, you could link to assignments, you could link to modules. Any of these things you can link to your images in. Once you're finished, all you would do is hit save. So I'm going to go through that again just one more time. I went to Canvas, I made a logo, I clicked a background, I went up to my Bitmoji and I selected I copied the image, pasted the image, hit download, downloaded it to my screen. Then I went over to my canvas, made sure that I was down here in my cursor, went over to images and uploaded that image so then I could use it. All right. If you want to link, you always just click what image you want. You go over to the link and then you attach it to whatever you wanted. So that's the basics of how you would get a home page. All right. I'm going to show you some different ways that you could do a page if you wanted. I'm going to go to view all pages. You can make it several different ways. If you want your home page as the front page that you will use, all you do is make sure that it's published and come over to these three dots and say use as front page. And then a little front page icon will come. And then when you go to your home, you just need to make sure that this choose home page says pages front page. So make sure that this says page and then make sure that your page itself has the little front page icon and it will appear. On these pages, you can do it a couple different ways. One, you could make it like I did with this one. This has parent info and then has it done by subject area. This would especially be good if you're in a self-contained classroom. As a specials teacher, I did mine where I just have 3 buttons that they click here. And then you could also do it where you had a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and this is what it could look like. You could even have a book library, which could take them to like an audiobook that they could listen to or several audiobooks. And then you could even have a parent information button up here in which they clicked. So these are different options that you can have. I would say there are some people that are going to say, these look great, but I don't want to spend all the time making this. Perfect. Go to the Bitmoji Craze for Educators, and you can type in, or logged in, you can hit classroom. You can search this group by classroom, and a ton of different classrooms will come up, and you could choose one that you wanted to use, or you could use several if that's what you wanted. There's lots of different kinds, all the way from kindergarten to 12th grade. I've seen foreign language rooms, I've seen PE rooms, whatever you want to do. I'm going to show you some that I found for free. This is a math manipulatives room, and all I would have to do is click this person and delete her, and then I would just come up to my Bitmoji. She was reading, maybe I want to read, so I'd type in reading, and then I want this one. I'll copy that image, I'll paste it in, and there's my person. Once again, I like to crop simply because, okay, this is a really good example. These links over here to these math manipulatives, if my person was to stay here, whenever they clicked, it would think that I'm clicking on my Bitmoji. So if you crop down, it makes it easier for your kids to access what you need. So I'll hit enter and I'll move her over a little bit. And now all of these are linked to math flashcards, telling time, all this different stuff. This is a science one, same thing. I'd click on that Bitmoji, I'd get rid of it. I'd come over to my Bitmoji icon. I like to type in pose. And you could find, like this one looks pretty similar. So I could copy. I could edit. Crop that image down. Now, something I would suggest, let me fix that. So this shows kind of like gloves behind. Really, remember, this is just like an order thing. So if I just sent if I sent these forward, I can arrange it so it looks like these gloves are on, oops, my Bitmoji. I have to do a little bit more cropping to this. And then voila, there, it's my classroom now. Did I have to do anything? Not really. I spent 2 minutes and I have my classroom. I could add anything I wanted. I could make these read alouds if I wanted, but the main thing is that I didn't have to spend a lot of time doing this. This one even has anchor chart for the writing process. So these are all free. I found these. I did not spend any time working on them, and all I did, Bitmoji, type in what you wanted, copy the image, and paste the image in. So it's really simple. You can take as little or as much time as you want in creating these. So I just wanted to show you that this is a really great site for all of the types of things that you can do. And now I want to show you what you can do with slides itself.
Hey, Annie, one thing before you switch modes there, can you walk us through again, maybe take a different one of your pages and set it as the front page?
Sure.
So that everybody can see how to set that.
Okay, so let's say typically your home page is going to be set to course activity stream. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like when you first go in. So what I first recommend that you do on your home, go over to choose home page on the right side of your screen and say choose home page. You're going to select pages front page. Save. Now, if you go down to your pages and say view all pages, this is all of the pages that I have made, all right? If I want to change my home page, all I have to do is go over to the page that I want. Let's say I'm gonna do this page right here. And I'll go over, I'll make sure that it is green and that it is published. If you don't know how to publish it, all you have to do is come over to where it's not green and hit the little circle and it turns green and it is published for you. So this is the page I want. It's green. All I do is go over to the 3 little dots and it'll say edit, delete, use as front page. You want to use it as the front page. You will know that a page is the front page because it will have a little gray box that says front page on it. So that's how you know that this is the one that you want to see. Now, if I hit home, that page now comes up for everyone to see. If I hit pages, whatever you selected as your home page will be the one to come up first, and you will have to say view all pages to get a list of everything that you have. Hopefully that answers the question. So the 3 buttons on the side, you can see this one's not published, so I can't use it as the front page. The moment I publish it, it will let me use it as the front page. So you could change it to whatever you wanted, all right? So 3 dots, use as front page. Are there any other questions with the Bitmoji in the chat?
That seems to be it. It's been kind of slow here. You've been doing a great job explaining that. The one thing I would add here is when you make your page, if you want to see how it's going to look for students, is make sure you go to that student view, because every once in a while things on the teacher side don't look the same as they will on the student side. So always, if you go back to home, over on the right side, you can see it right there on the screen, student view. If you click on that, it's kind of like it logs you in as just a generic student, and you can see exactly how it's going to look and behave for them. So if you're not sure about something, go there. Don't worry about clicking on anything. It's going to work how they do and not mess anything up that you've done. And then on the bottom, you'll have a button where you can click to get back out of that. So the only other question we had, somebody else in the chat answered, and it was about how to, what the code was for the Mac users on how to copy, but somebody else answered it. So I think we're good to move on to the other cool Google Slides stuff.
Okay, one last thing I'm going to show you is I'm going to open up my Drive. And I might put this in the chat itself simply because I think it's really great. But there is, and this is actually in the Facebook group itself, it's called Bitmoji Classroom Props. And literally in this thing, it has everything you could possibly want. It's got seating, it's got desks, it's got chairs, it's got bookshelves, it's got like whiteboards, everything that you need to work on and create your classroom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in the chat, and actually I'm going to show you how to force people to make a copy of your slide presentation so that way they can't edit the original. All I'm going to do is come over here to share, and I'm going to make sure that I copy this link. And then instead of this right here, this edit hashtag slide equals ID period P, all you have to do is type in copy. And if you use this instead, whenever I put this in the chat, it's going to force you guys to make a copy instead of using mine. So I'm going to stop sharing just so I can enter the chat. I'm going to add this for you to use. So you can keep that. All right. So I'm going to show you some other different ways to use Google Slides within Canvas. All right, so once again, this kind of comes a little bit from the elementary side, but you could use this for whatever you wanted to do. Let's say that I go to, my kids click on social studies. I taught 6th grade social studies, and we had to talk about Canada. So this is a Canada provinces and territories quiz that I created. And basically, this is a drag and drop activity that I created within Google Slides. So they have to open up this Canada quiz. They're going to drag and drop the text boxes onto the correct provinces and territories, and then they'll download the image and upload the file to the quiz. Now that sounds like a lot, but I'm going to show you that it's really not as bad as it seems. So I'm just going to open this up in a new link. And it's going to force them to make a copy. Once again, this is important because you don't want them to touch your original. So it'll force them to make a copy. Now the map itself and the directions I made as a background so they can't move it at all, no matter how hard they try. The only thing that they can touch is this name box and these text boxes. So if they click inside, they can put their name, And then they can click on these text boxes and they can move them over however they wish. So they could just move this over and it'll just allow them to drag and drop this over. Let's say they finished moving all of these boxes over here. You will have to model this for them, but all they have to do is hit File, and then they'll go to Download, and they'll go down to PNG. This makes it an image. So they'll click it, and you can see it says Copy of Canada, PNG. They'll go back to that quiz, and where it says Upload, it'll say Choose File. They can go down to where they have their image of the copy of the Canada quiz. And then they'll hit open. Now, it won't appear on my screen simply because I'm in teacher view, but if I was in student view, right here, it would tell me copy of Canada quiz, and then I would just submit that quiz itself. All right? You can do this with a lot of things. You could have it, if I was a math teacher and I was doing greater than, less than, I could have 2 decimal points. And instead of these being text boxes with words, I could have a greater than sign and a less than sign, and they had to move it over in between the 2 decimal points. So I'm going to show you how you create your background. So I'm going to get rid of these text boxes. All I did was insert, and then I had 2 different images, one of the map and then I created a text box for my instructions. So insert image, upload from computer. And let's say that I wanted to do this map. I removed the background on this. It didn't do the best job, but I could always go back and edit it if I wanted to. So I just move this over. Then I could insert a text box and make it large, label by dragging and dropping. I'm not going to do everything that I did, just simply for time's sake. Now, once I have this how I want it, this is the background layer that I don't want them to touch. All I would do is say File, and just like they did with the downloading, I would download it as a PNG. And then literally you could just come in here or make a new slide. That's sometimes easier. Delete that one. And then you could just make sure that it's here. Insert or background, insert image for your image. You're going to want to go into, you can either upload it, or if you have it in your Google Drive, you can do it there as well. And then all I'll do is go down to where I have it and open it up. And it will appear, and now they can no longer move things. And then I can just come in here, add a text box. And what you can do is you can change the line to give it a little bit more definition. I like to add a little bit of a fill so that they know. And then I'll type in name. And then I can come down here and then say Yukon. And then typically what I'll do, I'll resize it to the size I want. And then I will just copy and paste it all. And then just type in the names that I want. And it would work the exact same way. So it's not that bad. once you start working with it, getting it how you want, you could make one of these in very little time. So that's just an example of how you could create this. And then all they would do is download it as a PNG and upload the file. Another thing I'm going to show you, this is a multiplication escape room that I just adapted from another escape room that was on the Bitmoji craze for educators. So this is literally a Google Slides presentation. And all they have to do, they'll have to answer these questions and they'll plug in what it was. So they'll do, and it'll say nice job, or if they get it wrong, it would say like wrong choice, try again. And then they'll come in here, it'll say nice job, and then you'll click the door to move on. So this is a different way. They have to, in this one, they have to add all of these multiplications up to find the answer. So it's 158. And then it takes them to the very end. So then what I had them do for their assignment is they had to type in the code down at the bottom in the text entry and submit that for me. So this is just something that you can do as an assignment if you wanted to. And it doesn't take too terribly long because you're basically just adapting it from something that's already made. The last thing that I'm going to show you is a science, like a research room. You could do this for a lot of different things. I did it on space. So they come into the research room and there's different objects. And this is actually a research log. So they can come in here. You could do this in class where they're just looking at things. This is a worksheet that I have for them. Questions that I want them to look at, books that they could use, and the videos that they could use. So all they do is go to the research room. They can click on these and it will take them to read alouds of these books. They can click on this and it will take them to a video. And then they can either return to that menu or they could return to the research room depending on what I wanted them to do. So, and then let's say they say, I'm finished, no problems. Then they have to come in here. Did they get all the information from the books and the videos? And then if yes, then they're good to go. If no, they need to return to the research room so they can complete the tasks. So all of these are PowerPoint or slide presentations that I used. So you could do the same thing. This, once again, was adapted from a decomposer's research room, and I just made it about space. So it didn't take me too long. I just needed to choose the videos that I wanted and choose the books that I wanted. And are there any questions in the chat?
Yeah, so we had one, and I bet you're ready for this. Somebody asked if we can do something similar with PowerPoint.
Yes, okay, so let me open up. Okay, on PowerPoint, you can do the same thing. I will tell you that you just need to make sure there are differences. You would basically be inserting your videos, online videos here. The toughest part is if you want to link things. From what I can tell, PowerPoint 365, the link icon for me never appears. So I made a PowerPoint using the application like on my computer, and then I uploaded it to Microsoft Office 365, and all of my links were messed up and wouldn't open. So that is my word of advice and kind of warning, is the link feature doesn't always work. So I personally am more of a fan of Google Slides because I know my links are always going to work, as opposed to PowerPoint. It gets a little crazy. If hopefully that makes sense. So hopefully that answers questions. Now, I will say PowerPoint does have a unique feature. So if you go to Draw, it actually has the ability to use a pen tool. So let's say that I deleted these, cut these out, and I said insert, or actually I have to go to design for this one. And I can choose a slide size, and I can customize my slide size. So let's say that I want to do an 8.5 by 11. So like a typical piece of paper size. I'd like to choose maximize. I can go over to background and a picture from a file and choose a file. And I believe I have one on here about prepositions. And it's lengthwise, so I need to change this to landscape. You might need to adjust this. Sorry, guys. Prepositions, open it up, insert. There we go. And then you can go to draw, and they can actually, this works pretty well if they're on like some sort of tablet device, but they can use the pen tool and they can start drawing. Now, I will say, if they're on a tablet, it works better. Typically, if they're on a computer, it starts doing a little bit of wonky things, and it takes them like a minute or two for it to actually line up. But on a tablet, it worked completely fine for me. And they can actually start tracing these things. And if you gave it like a minute just to like this, realize where you're actually clicking, it goes back. It just takes it a minute to realize that. So this might be something if you taught lower grades and you were trying to figure out, but I like it on tablets better than on an actual PC or Mac. So that's something you can do. Anything else?
No, that is it for the questions I've seen that we need to answer. I will say though, before we kind of wrap up the presentation part and go to questions and answers, that, it was probably an hour ago, we were talking about YouTube on here when we first started talking about YouTube, and you showed the site where you could get the kind of ad-free and it cleaned it up for you. Know that there is a way to integrate YouTube into your Canvas where you don't have to worry about that. Okay, so like you can insert that into an assignment. The only thing is, what Annie was showing you there was linking to a video from her Google Slide embedded page. Well, the other part of it, she had to go get that cleaned up version to use it there because it's technically getting it from outside of Canvas and then bringing it back in. So also, hey, one thing you can do for us, Annie, that link that you shared, and I saw you doing something there, you may have fixed this, that when I clicked on the link that you shared with us, it said I didn't have rights, and I think some others got that too. So there may be something about the share button where you need to fix that. So if you want to stop sharing, I'll show everybody how to add, because I will share my screen. And let me show you how, because and it looked like we had somebody join, so if you could let them in. All right, so here's my my page. If you go to settings and you want to incorporate the YouTube LTI into this, so if you go down to settings, you have all of these options. And the first time you go into settings, it's going to take you to course details. Okay. To get here, sorry, I went kind of fast there. In my home page, I just went all the way down to the bottom to where it says settings. Okay. It's the very last option there. So when you go to settings, you click on that. It will take you to course details first. And then if you will just go over here to apps, there are a lot of apps that work really smoothly with Canvas. Well, you can either scroll through the probably hundreds of pages of them, or you can type in YouTube and you'll see it kind of narrows it down as you're typing. So when you click on that YouTube icon, it will tell you about YouTube if you didn't know what it was. Okay, there'll be many more in there that if you look through that you won't know what they are. So you'll have to read through the description, and then you will add the app. Okay, so mine says it's already installed. After you add the app, then let me show you what happens when I go to an assignment. Okay, I'm gonna go into my modules. And then I'm going to go into, I'm just going to go into an assignment that I've already created here so that I can edit it. And I'm waiting on it to catch up here. I've done some clicking and it's slow. I've got my other monitor over here where I can see what it looks like for you guys. Okay, so anywhere where you have the rich content editor. Now remember when we were doing our pages, we were going over here to the HTML editor and we were pasting in that code from our Google slide. Well, if you're not using that because you're just creating an assignment for your students to see and you want to incorporate a YouTube video, you have all these links here. And the more things that you add, it kind of squeezes some of them out. So right there is more external tools. Okay, that B really is just kind of an arrow to, if you click on it, it gives you a menu of all the other things there. So you can go to YouTube there. Okay, and when you click on YouTube, I'm waiting on it to catch up here. When you click on YouTube, then you get this box that pops up where you can search. And so if I want to add a Khan Academy video, I can go to Khan Academy and then put in, you know, what type of Khan Academy video I want. Okay, that is not what I had in mind. So I know they have a really good triangle area video. So then if I want to include the video from Khan Academy about how to calculate area of a triangle, see it comes up right there. I can see it. All I have to do is click embed, and this will put it into that assignment for me. Now, what Annie did before, where she went out and got the code and cleaned it up with the other website, this right here would not have worked because that was taking it into Google Slides. Okay, this, because we're completely staying in Canvas, we can use this integrated form of YouTube. Now, when I get done with this, I'm going to go click Save and Publish. What will happen here, and let me remember what assignment this is on. I'm going to show you how this works for students, and then I'll kick it back to Annie here in a couple minutes. So I'm looking for basic math review. Again, when I want to see how it looks for students, I go back home and click on Student View. It's over on the right side in our list of menu items over there. Okay, so I'm over there on the right side, the glasses where it says Student View. If I click on that, now I'm going to go back and look through my modules for that assignment that I just added that video to. And of course, I put it in a module that wasn't, hang on. I put it in a module that wasn't published. I didn't even think of looking for that. So I've got to publish my module and go back. So sorry, I've got a couple of extra steps in there. All right, so now I'm seeing it as a student does. I go to my modules and I go look for that assignment. There it is, Basic Math Review. And there's that video. Now, the frustrating thing about YouTube is before you can watch a video, it makes you watch an ad. Okay. And then when it's over, there's no telling where it's going. It may make you watch another ad. It may take you to another video or whatever. By doing it this way inside of Canvas, when I click play, it just starts playing the video. Okay. Whenever I get to the end, okay, so this is just going to play. Closed captions work. Okay. All the other features of YouTube work just as they would. I could go full screen. I could even cast it if they're watching on a device like at home and they want to cast it to their living room TV or something. So when it gets to the very end, I'm just going to skip it forward here. It's got about 3 more seconds to go. When it gets to the end, you will see that it just goes back to the title screen. So if you're going to add a video inside of an assignment or something else that you are creating inside of Canvas, integrating, going to your settings and adding YouTube, it makes it so much easier. So then you don't have to worry about all those other things. When it ends, it just ends. You don't have to worry about students being able to go through some rabbit hole of getting to something where you need to be concerned about what they're getting to. So, all right, let me stop sharing that. And Annie, let me ask you this. Is there anything else that we need to share before we go to Q&A?
Let's see. I think, let's see if you're using that tool. I think we covered everything. Currently,
Yeah.
I'm just making sure I needed to fix a share setting, so I'm giving people access to what the Bitmoji props and making sure that they have access to that.
Okay, so here's what I'll say.